What's up, guys? Welcome to There's podcast with your host, Matt Tretrick, and myself, Peter Findera. We're going to start this episode off with a few silent seconds. We're doing a special episode today. Just be with your breath, just try and relax, and just be silent with us, guys. Beautiful.
You like my craftsmanship with the singing bowl? Hey guys, this is a podcast where we tackle current health news and hot nursing topics, one conversation at a time. Hope you guys like that intro. If you find any value in this podcast, please give us a review, give us a follow, give us a share. We are honestly growing because of you guys, and if you guys smash that 5-star, you guys really motivate us to kind of keep on producing high quality content as we are. How you doing today, PD?
I'm doing good, Matthew. I'm doing well. Went to the gym. But I'm sure you guys are wondering, why did we start this episode off with a moment of silence? That is because in this episode, we're going to talk about alternative medicines. So alternative medication or medicine is a range of medical therapies that are not regarded as orthodox by Western culture and Western medicine. And we have a few knickknacks here. We have a gong here. We have a singing bowl that Matt played. We have incense burning. We have sage. We're also wearing headbands. And we're actually seated on yoga mats today. We're more of in a relaxed mood. We just want to go over a few therapies that aren't very predominant in the Western culture, but they are still pretty important. A lot of people use them. And something that we should maybe look into. Some of them you might have heard about. Some of them you might not have heard about, so we'll just slowly explore these with all you guys. So, what are the different types of alternative medicines? They're also known as CAM. So CAM stands for complementary and alternative medicine, another term for it. We're gonna talk about it for quite a bit. We have a few of them. We have actually like 10 of them on here, if not more. Some of them are common, like I said before, and in the US, alternative medications, or CAM, is used by about 38% of adults and about 12% of children.
Yeah. And as we go through all these, you guys find something interesting, because we're going to scratch the surface on alternative medicine. If you find something that's very powerful that you like, for example, Reiki, let us know about that, and maybe we could get somebody that is a professional that deals with that, so we could go more in depth. And just like we said, like, we're just learning with all these, and I'm sure as time goes by, we'll get into some of these maybe, and we could share our experience. So the first alternative medicine, which is the most common type in America, which would be diet and herbs. So a national survey in 2012 by the National Center of Complementary and Integrative Medicine determined that 17.7% of American adults used dietary supplements, vitamins, minerals in the past year. So diet and herb is the most common. It's, we look at like multivitamins in one of them. We sometimes get teas, herbal teas to help upset your stomach. And we do diet and nutritional modifications. For example, intermittent fasting to, help with insulin resistance, for example.
I feel like this treatment modality is also exploited a lot. People want to make money, so a lot of times they sell these pills, these herbal pills that really aren't made for your exact symptoms, or not really made for you, and all they want to do is make a quick buck. So they put a few non-harmful herbs that might be harmful for you, but they don't really care because they're just trying to make some money. And this is a pretty big range, herbal and dietary. So this is going to be like your probiotics, any kind of like herbal remedies that you might buy at the store. Matt mentioned tea. Some people make their own dietary supplements. They just buy the capsules and they fill it with herbs or whatever they deem necessary.
Yeah, I even went to the extremes of making liposomal vitamin C, which maybe people heard of me talk about before, but basically you buy an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, you mix some vitamin C, some lecithin, and some water, and what happens is the soy lecithin kind of bonds around the vitamin C and makes it more bioavailable to the human body. And I was kind of making shots for my family members, and they would take these higher doses of vitamin C, and you wouldn't get diarrhea or anything from it because it passes the digestive tract because of the phospholipids and the lecithin.
Yeah, the next alternative medication or alternative practices we're gonna go into is the traditional ones. So this field includes more of the mainstream and more accepted forms of therapy. It's gonna include acupuncture, homeopathy, and oriental practices. These therapies have been practiced for centuries worldwide. Traditional alternative medications or traditional alternative medicines are the ones that I stated above, including naturopathy. So acupuncture is pretty mainstream. You've all heard about it. Somebody comes in and they literally put needles in you, and where they put these needles, it's supposed to hit certain nerves certain nerves or some kind of synapses or something going on in your body basically, and depending on the area that they hit, it's supposed to affect different parts of your body. So they might put a little needle in your wrist or your arms that might be linked to your liver if you have high liver toxicity, or if you have any kind of pains. If you have migraines, they might put a needle somewhere else, and that's supposed to release or deactivate certain chemicals in your body.
Yeah, so long story short is it's a form of oriental medicine, and what Peter was saying is the purpose is to restore your body's natural balance of these opposing forces between the yin and the yang, and what gets blocked is the chi, and that's what causes disease, they're saying. So they believe that we have these channels internally in our body. They're called meridians, I believe, and they help your body maintain optimal health. And what acupuncture does, it kind of stimulates that specific point in your body where the chi is trying to flow through and is trying to restore your health. So I've never done this before, but I do believe in energy and everything that happens and how we're all connected. So I do believe it's not scientifically proven we have these. Let's just be quite honest first. So researchers say this doesn't exist. According to them, they do, and it's pretty plausible that these meridians are these mapped out highways throughout the body, and they help with energy flow.
Yeah, I've never tried acupuncture either, but it's definitely on my bucket list. When I used to live with my parents, there was an acupuncturist down the street that I meant to go to, but I just never got the chance. So I called them a few times, and the times where I was available, they were not available. So unfortunately, I missed out on that, but I could definitely see myself sometime in the future just trying acupuncture, see how it works.
Yeah, even though I was at a massage place, and they do reflexology. So that's kind of do with the body, and they're basically saying all these nerves are interconnected on our feet, and if you massage or apply pressure to specific points of your feet, it'll stimulate different organs and things like that, which makes sense because we talk about the vagus nerve all the time and how it's in charge of the gut and the heart and everything else, and it's in charge of fight or flight too. So if you have a overreactive vagus nerve, you're going to be in fight or flight a lot. So it does make sense on what's happening here, but scientists have not proven it to be real.
All right, guys. Next up, we have therapies and medicines that have to do with the mind. So even standard or conventional medicines recognize the power of the connection between the mind and body. We've talked about the mind-body connection multiple times, the mind-gut connection, all that's interrelated. We're not two separate bodies in one. Everything's connected. So studies have found that people heal better if they have good emotional and mental health. I could definitely agree with that. When you're sick or when you're going through hardship, if your mood is elevated and you're more on the happier side, more of the excited side, you are going to heal better. Why? Because you're going to be more prone to activities. You're going to not be in a slump. And the alternative therapies that deal with the mind is going to be meditation, biofeedback, and hypnosis. Meditation, also probably the biggest mainstream one that anybody could really think of. If you think of mind, meditation, mindfulness, all that goes into one, especially more on the West Coast. Things start on the West Coast meditation with yoga, and then it kind of takes its course to the center of the United States and then moves on to the East Coast, it looks like. Hypnotherapy is another big one. That I'm a little skeptical about. I've never done it. I think it does also get a bad rep because people also try to make money off it. So you have those people that say that they could tell your future or they could hypnotize you, and they have this giant audience, and they pick people out of the audience and they hypnotize them supposedly. But I'm not sure if you guys are big followers of the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan actually had a neuroscientist on there that actually believe hypnosis works, and he got hypnotized a few times. I haven't really fully watched the episode, but it goes into it a little bit more in depth, and we're gonna go into it. But if a neuroscientist is able to get hypnotized and says there's some kind of scientific backing of it, then hypnosis might be a route for you. But of course, like with everything, there is people that are more prone to hypnosis and some people that are hard to hypnotize. I've never been hypnotized. I'm not sure what scale I am, so I don't think Matt has been hypnotized. You've not been hypnotized yet?
No. Sometimes when I go to sleep, though, did you ever do like the guided meditations? Since we're on, mind and body, I personally, guys, meditate literally every single day. Every single time I wake up in the morning, I go do my ADLs, activities of daily living, which is brushing my teeth. I'll go pee. I'll look at myself in the mirror. I'll say, "Damn, Matt, we're gonna have a great day today." Hop on the scale, see what's going on there, and I don't check my phone yet. Then I go on my phone. I'll play a meditation song, at least 10 minutes. I'm just like starting my day like that. And we're talking about meditation, so I feel like it's definitely beneficial. It does help with like emotional well-being, and sometimes like you don't even realize you're in like this flight of emotions, and sometimes you're dealing with anxiety without realizing it, and you just going through like your meditation practice, and it doesn't mean that you're like completely empty of thoughts. Like that's not the purpose of meditation. You want to accept those thoughts as they come, understand what they are, and let them go. So, for example, if something has been bothering you, or you had an event that bothered you this week, and you meditate, and you just blanked out, and you have that memory of whatever happened that pissed you off, and then you catch yourself like, oh, I just had a thought, and why am I thinking about that if that was the past? So sometimes you're able to troubleshoot and check yourself that, hey, I'm dealing with this still. This is still affecting me, and then you could either journal about it or accept it what it is and just cope with it, So it's kind of cool because it's like a tool that like body scans in a way.
Yeah. And with mindfulness, guys, with the mind comes the body. So with the body, you can have movements, you can have physical touch. So touch has been used in medicine since the early days of medical care. Body techniques are often combined with mindfulness. So think of your massages, think of your yoga. When you do yoga, you're not just stretching your body, you're also stretching your mind. It kind of has the dual effect. It feels good because you're slowly able to progress into more harder or more difficult stretches. And overall, it makes you more flexible physically, but also makes you more flexible mentally. Because it's not only physically straining to hold a pose, but mentally as well. So when people give up, they give up mentally before they give up physically. Now, how many times have you fell over from exhaustion? Probably not much. But how many times have you stopped because mentally you were like, okay, it's time to stop?
Yeah.
A whole lot more. This also falls under chiropractics and osteopathic medicine. So your chiropractor, every time he cracks you, every kind of movements he does, that's kind of also considered alternative medicine, because there's not a whole lot of scientific backing for it. But I've been to chiropractor and they've helped me out a lot.
Yeah,
like
same
it
here.
Feels good, and I feel like even if some of these, I'm not saying chiropractors don't have scientific backing. I'm saying like things that we mentioned right now, things that we talked about. Even though there might not be a lot of scientific backing from it, if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel better. It's going to make you feel better as a person, mentally and physically. So if you like doing it and it feels good to you, that means it's gonna work for you.
Yeah, and another added perk of this yoga is that you're able to kind of body scan your body and figure out where you feel tense, where do you feel like the pressure. I know like yoga could go into like rabbit holes of, different like chakras or something like that and energy centers. But on like a physical level, if you're doing a stretch and you feel knot in your shoulder or your neck, you know that, hey, my body is stressed out or it's not feeling good there, and you could put more emphasis on it. And that's another added benefit of it.
True. And instead of like reaching for the pill, like ibuprofen and Tylenol because like your lower back hurts or your shoulder hurts, yoga does you a greater benefit in that, because you're not putting any kind of medicine in your body, you're naturally stretching out that muscle, which is a long-term solution compared to pain medication, which is a very, very short-term solution, because you're not fixing your pain, you're just covering your pain.
Yeah. Even Tai Chi. So Tai Chi has been said to boost upper lower body flexibility, strength, improves balance, and I think according to some studies that I looked at when I was looking at a Harvard article, it's said to reduce falls, which makes sense because it helps train the senses, and you're doing different movements, functions that stimulates like these sensory neurons of the inner ear to, to become more flexible.
Exactly.
Do you remember what cranial nerve that is?
That I do not, but if you guys check out our NCLEX courses that are coming out soon, you're going to know, and I could probably review them again.
I think it's oculotrochlear, something like that. Those freaking cranial nerves always get me, man.
I don't know, dude. I still can't remember them, and I have struggled remembering them in nursing school, and I struggle remembering them now. And I've been a nurse for over 3 years, coming to 4, and I have never used a cranial nerve knowledge in my life, minus nursing school. Have you?
I'll look at a neurologist note, and I'll see what he read, and he says what he's assessing the cranial nerves. I never cared too much about them,
Yeah, but I probably have a biased perspective because all I do is cardiac.
Yeah,
So
that too.
Just talking shit.
But normally when you're doing your assessment, you're kind of like, okay, well, this pupil is uneven compared to the left one. That one's a 3, this one is a 2. And that's the assessment, and that's the note that I put in my, chart. Mm-hmm. I don't put, okay, cranial nerve 3 is affected because pupil size is less.
Same.
So yeah, those cranial nerves are honestly NCLEX related, and they kind of like disappear in a way. Yeah. You'll still see them.
Of course, you'll see them a little bit. Unless you do cardiac, not gonna say very much, but whatever, dude. I'm done talking shit. All right, guys. The next one we have here is external energy. So this is the belief. The belief is external energy from objects and other sources directly affect a person's health. So energy can be in an object, in a room. It could be within you. You could give it to somebody else. So this one example that really comes to mind, and I'm sure, Matt, you could relate, and all the nurses out there, is you have that one patient room that is kind of known as like a room where people kind of go to die.
Haunted room.
Like almost like haunted, where that for some reason that room has had more patients die in it than all the other rooms on the unit. And every time you have a patient there that's not doing too well, or you just walk in there by yourself, you kind of feel like
I'm gonna light some sage in the memory of that room that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And everybody that has that room that they know in their hospital, I'm gonna light some sage for you guys, just so we get rid of all those bad external energies that are in those rooms.
Yeah, hopefully we don't conjure a spirit here by accident, because we're not really very knowledgeable on these kind of arts. But it's okay. I used to be a master of the dark arts, but we're not gonna mess with that today.
This guy.
Harry Potter reference. So yeah, energy, guys. So you know when you come in a room and you kind of get that sense like you just either puts you down or it kind of puts you off, and that's what this external energy kind of is. So one of these things, we have something called Reiki. So Reiki, it smells beautiful. Reiki is a form of alternative medicine called energy healing. Reiki practitioners use a technique called palm healing or hands-on healing, through which a universal energy is said to be transferred through the palms of the practitioner to the patient in order to encourage emotional or physical healing. So they pass good energy or good vibes or any kind of energy to you. I'm sure it could be negative, but let's not go to a dark Reiki master and get this done.
Yeah, where they freaking put needles in that doll. My grandma actually could be a Reiki teacher for all I know. Mm-hmm. So my grandma is a very spiritual person. As you know, listeners, my grandma's freaking, I feel like, super woke. She does these random things. She has like a pendulum. She has like these rods.
Fire massages,
yeah. But when it comes to Reiki, I actually am able to extend my palms outward like that. And what she does is she casts her energy onto these palms. And sometimes I literally feel tingling sensation in my fingertips when she's transferring this energy. Mm-hmm. Even in her massages at the very end, she takes her palms and just goes down your body, and you just feel like this release of energy. She's Catholic to begin with, so she thinks, if you talk to her about Reiki, she probably thinks it's the damn devil, because they're very Roman Catholic. Yet she practices this universal energy form without even realizing.
Yeah. We should have your grandma on here, but too bad she doesn't speak English.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe we could translate it.
That'd be a long episode.
Yeah, we'll pass on that, guys. But if you guys want to see her, Matt will give you her phone number if you want to go for a massage.
In the
Chicagoland area. All right, guys. So next off, we have senses. Some people believe senses, like touch, sight, hearing, and smell, taste can affect overall health. Like we have the aromatherapy is probably the biggest one right now for the senses, but there's also art, different kinds of dances, music, and visual and guided imagery. I haven't done any. I feel like I did guided imagery back in psychology class when I was doing my prereqs. Don't remember exactly what it did for me. Probably didn't do anything because I didn't care for that kind of stuff when I was in doing my prereqs years and years ago. You know, old people say years and years ago. I'm gonna start saying years and years ago. Not even at all. I'm 26 years old. But years and years ago, I did a visual, or not visual, but guided imagery, and it didn't really do anything for me. But I like aromatherapy just because it smells nice. I don't believe in necessarily that, hey, if you inhale lavender, you're going to have less abdominal pain. Like that, I don't really believe in very much. I just like it because it smells good, and I do it. I put it in my diffuser because it smells good, and it makes me feel good because it smells good.
This almost sounds like senses is part of alternative medicine, like it's a hobby. Art, dance, painting, music, things that like technically de-stress you. You find to like get into like a state of flow, right? Sometimes when you like podcast, like we're doing right now, you literally forget about. I mean, I'm sure you're still worried about going to work, but
Yeah.
you forget about everything that's happening, and you're just like in a state of flow, and you're completely present. And when you get in touch to your senses, yes, it's a form of medicine because you're technically healing your body because it's not under stress or thinking about that damn mortgage that keeps coming or whatever the case might be. I even find jiu-jitsu to be on this list for myself. I'll add it because every single time I went, like, I got out of my damn head. I was in my body and I felt alive. My senses were just tingling, they're thriving. And it's you get in touch with yourself, and it's like almost a form of meditation where you're grounded and there's mental clarity.
Yeah, I feel like music is probably the most or the biggest one that I deal with, because when you go to the gym, you have a different genre of music playing, and that gets you pumped, motivated. And when you're meditating, you have a different genre of music. And then when you're going to sleep, you also have a different genre of music. And that all helps in what you're doing, right? If you listen to some trap at the gym, you're gonna get a good pump. You can lift some weight. And if you listen to like a lucid dreaming playlist before bed, you might have more dreams and you might sleep better. So I totally believe in the music. Like, music has been along for a very long time, and they play different music in rituals that hype these tribes up or relaxes them. And music is probably the one I use most, and that's what I believe in out of all of them.
Even when I do my meditations in the morning and I already put that song on and I look at my Whoop band and I'm looking at my heart rate, my body already knows what's about to happen. Like, my body's heart rate goes from like 80s to like 60s in a matter of like a minute, just to prepare for this technically ritual that I have with the senses, right?
Yeah.
And my body is aware of it.
Even silence, even though it's not music, it's still dealing with the senses, because you're not having any kind of external stimuli coming in. It's just you within yourself.
I've noticed that sometimes I need that silence where I feel like I'm a huge empath, where all these energies affect me, where I'm overly stimulated, and I need time for myself to just unplug and technically process everything.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel. My senses are overly stimulated.
All right, guys, I think we should end this episode with a few more seconds of silence.
Before we do silence,
Sure.
let's wrap up this episode. So today, alternative medicine, we talked about different ways of healing your body when it comes to meditation, traditional medicine, senses, diet and nutrition, things like acupuncture, anything to restore the natural flow of the body. And maybe you have your own that you practice in your own time and you find it to be successful. Continue doing that. Maybe share it to the world, share with us, and we would love to shout you out about that.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. Let's do 5 silent breaths. Inhale with the nose and exhale with the mouth. We want to inhale all the good vibes and exhale all negative energy.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.